Hey there, I was just going to show you an example of how to use Google Scholar to get started on your article grids and start putting those towards your literature reviews for your micro studies. So instead of starting at the scholarly databases, for the past couple of years I've just been using Google Scholar, which is a service of Google if you haven't already used it. Um, but basically you can look up things like web usability. I'm just using him because I know that he is a publisher in that area. One of the things that I had found along the way, and it made me think of Megan, was this PDF about tailoring new websites to appeal to those who are most likely to shop online. She was talking about doing the presence of restaurants' websites and their menus and how it may or may not influence customers. So if you click on this, sometimes they'll have PDFs along the side, like here, and you don't have to go through the library's website to get them, so that's kind of convenient. You can also see who has cited this article, and then also it will direct you to related articles, so that's kind of nice. And you can also save it if you are logged into a Google branch. So let me just click on this PDF and it'll download it for me immediately. What's kind of nice about the more recent articles is it will direct you to articles that they used. So if I just click on Lynch, it will take me to the Lynch's article. So that's kind of nice. But you should be able to scan the abstract to see what type of study. This one uses survey, and it talks about how they used a convenience sample of 363 residents of the US and Canada. So that's a pretty good sized survey. And basically, it talks about the things that they looked at. What else was I going to show you from here? Based on the language used, we'll get into this later on in the semester, but they talk about high and low experience groups. So that must have been how they divided their sample. So they probably compared how experienced people use the website versus people with less internet experience, because this article was written in 2004, and that means the study was probably conducted in 2001 when the internet was still relatively young. So we're just going to practice skimming through some of these abstracts to look at how the research was conducted and how you can easily identify that. So maybe Megan can use this as one of her survey examples for like what is going to make people, what is the topic of this? How to make websites appeal to people. So she might be able to pull the high experience users and what they had said for her own micro study on how users use websites to make decisions to go there or not. Let me go back one. One thing, actually, let me go forward. Sorry. One thing I like to do is if I find a good article, I will go to the last page and check out the references and see if any of these look interesting to me, because that obviously this guy has cited these sources in his article, so he might have saved me some time by talking about ways that people have done similar work. Um, I'm just reading these right now. Why we click. Just based on the title of some of these articles, you might say, oh, that sounds like it might be a qualitative if we're not really sure how to define why. So going to this Parsons 2002 article, that may have used like a case study or ethnography or something like that. So this is why it's so important to clarify what your research questions are going to be, because it will help you structure your title so other researchers can find what they're looking for if you were to publish it later. What else? Let me see if there's any others that we could find right away. Web assessment, some evidence from successful interactive applications. It's kind of old, but well, they may have potential. Customer loyalty, antecedents and consequences. This might be possible. Maybe a quantitative analysis of some sort. Other things you guys can look at are the journals that publish this, like the Journal of Retailing might have other things on online shopping, depending on whatever your topic is. So just look at like who is publishing these sorts of things. This one is the Journal of Advertising Research. That might be interesting. But just like work backwards to see one, who's published this work before, and then two, how can I use like the energy that they've expounded creating this reference list to guide myself in my own research. Since the article we were just looking at was published in 2005, we can also go to this, which will show you who has cited this article. We might look at the case of internet banking. That may be a case study. I don't know. This looks like a textual analysis because they've done a decent job talking about it in their abstract of what they've done. So that might help with the textual analysis or discourse analysis grid. Go down. But I mean, at least we've got like 64 to go through now rather than like starting from scratch and like not really knowing where to start. So that's kind of helpful. Moderating effect, that looks like it's going to be an experiment. So that would be a possible one. Anything with effect will probably have experiment because you can't really determine that causal relationship without being quantitative. Moderating effect, same. Oh, that's the same one. Okay, this says technology acceptance is a constantly developing field. That means that there hasn't been a ton of research on it, so this is probably going to be a qualitative study. So that might be worth checking out. And then sometimes if you find a good one and it doesn't have this link over here with the PDFs, just save the citation and then you can work backwards going through the Towson system of looking up using the like the journal article reference system or something like that. But Google Scholar usually, and I think usually if you use Google Scholar on campus while you're there, it will automatically link to the library because you're already signed in. So that's one option if you happen to be on campus. Perceived innovation, that sounds like it might be qualitative. So just think about the language and like how would we gather perceptions or perceptions of innovation, probably by asking people directly and asking them to explain what they think about the process. So that will probably be like an interview or case study or a focus group or something like that. So what I would do is as you look through these, I would just save the I would click on the PDFs, check out the abstract, see if you can tell what type of article it is, if it's a case study or a focus group or whatever. Make a note of it. What I like to do is I like to grab all of the citation information, so the title, the journal, the year, authors, volume, and issue that the article was published in, and then just save it. And if it is like a PDF and it links you to the actual article like this, I would definitely save the URL so I can go back to it. But this looks at it's not really clear what type of study this is right now. So we probably have to jump down to the methods section and see what people have done. So here's our research questions. You can just see that this is kind of poor technical writing because you can't tell how much, like just quickly say, we did a survey, you know? Okay. So between 2001 and 2, a snowball sample of adults completed a self-administered print questionnaire that was given to colleagues, friends, families, and acquaintances. Okay, so there we go. Finally, we find out that it's a survey. Okay, you've got to dig around for this stuff though. So this might take care of one of the areas that we needed. Okay. Well, that's how you get started using Google Scholar. I would definitely start there first and then work backwards into trolling different journals as you go through. But I think that Google Scholar provides a really good overview for any topic. And usually the most recent things pop up first along with the most recently or the most heavily cited things. So that saves you some time too, rather than looking up like the Boolean keywords that Fry talks about. Okay? All right, good luck.